You praise God, yes, in the church, but you praise him at the house when there's nobody but you and God. It's too many choirs and too many praise teams who have people that are on them, but they're all about being cute rather than giving God the glory that's due to his name. Worship is not just praising and clapping, but when you serve God and serve him right, your service to God is a form of worship. And yet there are people who are not about serving God because they're busy trying to please a person. You have folk in church who will not work in ministry until somebody else decides they'll work in ministry. They won't give they all to God because they're waiting on a friend or waiting on a loved one to give their all, and then they're going to step up and give their all. But you can't be that way when it comes to God. Your relationship with God is something that is personal, and you need to have a mind like your pastor that if don't nobody else want to serve God, I'm yet going to serve him. If nobody else wants to be faithful, then I'm still going to be loyal until the very end because of how good God has been to me, and I'm not going to allow the trend of the day or what's popular to pull me out of God and get me to the point to where I'm a lukewarm pastor. Because notice when it came to the rulers, their primary thing was they really cared about what the Pharisees thought. They wanted the Pharisees to be to the point to where they would praise them. They would praise them. And they also themselves wanted the praise of men. They were unwilling to disconnect from certain people because they cared about the position they had obtained and felt like that was being threatened if they just sell out to Jesus and admit openly that they was a follower. See, that's the reason Nicodemus, when he did come to Jesus, as smart as he was, he came by night so that nobody would see that he was coming, trying to be submissive to Jesus and receive knowledge and understanding. He didn't want to do it in the day, so he came by night. And we have to be careful that we don't set up and become men pleasers and would rather please men more so than we please God. See, don't you know when you give God your all in reference to a hand clap, in reference to a dance, in reference to your service, in reference to you offering up the gifts that he has put on the inside of you, and you use your gift to give him glory, don't you know that causes God to be happy, causes him to be pleased with you? I don't want to half serve God. I said I want to half serve him. And I don't want to just serve him so that folks will see me and they'll pat me on the back for what I do. No, when you are a real bona fide and legit server, you serve God out front as well as behind the scene. Nobody has to give you recognition when your heart is right. You praise God, yes, in the church, but you praise him at the house when there's nobody but you and God. You ain't about just trying to please folk. It's too many choirs and too many praise teams who have people that are on them, but they're all about being cute rather than giving God the glory that's due to his name. We don't want that at Refuge. We would rather have a choir with 7 folk than a choir with 30 people, but 23 up there for themselves and wanting to get God's glory. We'd rather have a praise team with 2 people on it than to have 12 and 10 are just in it for themselves. Same way with musicians. We'd rather sing on tracks than to have musicians who only play to get glory. For somebody to say how wonderful they are. You have to watch that spirit. I said, you have to watch that spirit. Yes, we want to play skillfully, but we play skillfully unto God, not unto man. Is it tight but right? See, listen, church. God don't just want some of the praise. That ain't how God is. And some of you that have God at the bottom of your list, in your mind, listen to this preacher. God is nowhere on your list except he be number one. Because God is not playing second fiddle to nobody. He too good for that. He too good for you to get in a hole and then talk about, Lord, I'm going to praise you. But if you don't do what I want you to do, then I'm not going to pray. Who in the world do you think you are? You need God. God does not need you. When you praise God, you helping yourself. Notice it. Nevertheless, amongst the rule of many believed in him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him. And do you know some churches change the way they praise? They change the way they worship to cater to people. Change their service times because folk don't want to stay in church over an hour no more. And so let's cut back all of the service. Let's cut back the praise. Let's cut back the worship. Let's cut back on the teacher so folk can get out and go play their hobbies and go look at their sports and go do their thing. And that's the reason in so many churches, the Spirit of God has abandoned the place. He has left the church because the dead do not praise God. We got to stay alive up at Refuge. We got to stay hot at Refuge. We got to stay on fire for God. Woo! God, I'm preaching this thing right. We got to, saints. Because where there is a church where people are willing to give him all the praise, all the glory, and all honor, that's a church that got power. That's a church where somebody can come in and get delivered. That's a church where demon folk that are demon possessed can be made free. That's a church where somebody will come in sick, but they'll leave healed. Am I preaching right? Because when Jesus is lifted up, he will draw. Hold on, that's the reason the one thing the devil want to do is stop folk from praising him. He want to get the praise out of the church. And he want men, listen, to become so important in their own mind that they refuse to give God all the praise that's due to him. Look at somebody, if you're not afraid of him or her, and tell them, don't you get too important that you can't praise. You get to thinking you so much to where you can't praise God. You hit me? I mean to the point to where you will not just give him your all. I have a serious problem with people, especially men, who can get excited about a ball game to the point to where they act like they done lost their mind, screaming and hollering, and the folk can't even hear them that they're hollering for, but they're so in tune to it that they're willing to give their all. But yet when it comes to praise, these same men rarely move in the church. They'll clap, but they're going to be real reserved in how they do it. And we'll wonder why God ain't moving for them. He ain't moving because you have another God before him. But what about the good sisters who get excited when it comes to shopping, but they don't get excited about prayer? They don't get excited about prayer, but let them get on their shopping spree. Let them loose in Dillard's. Let them loose in Macy. Let them loose in TJ Maxx. And they got a pep in their step, but they at church every Sunday, every Bible study, like they had to press their way to God's house. This is God's house. You didn't press your way to Dillard's. How dare you shortchange God? The nerve of us to give more to things that at the end of the day really don't matter at all and shortchange a God that's been so good to every one of us.